right, so we're talking further about digital marketing. And I don't use all these platforms personally. You know, my marketing career was mostly on traditional advertising, commercials, spending large amounts of money on behalf of the company. Digital marketing, the tools you guys have now are so amazing. They are so granular. They're almost weaponized. So they're wonderful tools for you guys. We have additional classes that dive further into this. So if you really want more in this space, there's CSIT, computer science, sorry, I'm trying to advance my slides here. Computer science department has CSIT 155, which is social media for business. We also have business 138, which is advertising and promotions. And that professor, Sean Smith, is a digital entrepreneur, and he goes further. This is running on its own. Let me slow that thing down. He goes further on using digital advertising to promote your business. So those are good ones to look at. If you're specific to e-commerce and you're like, you have a website idea or you're already starting your website, then I would look at the media arts department, MAT, and that's where you're learning to design websites. And they even do some of the back end stuff with how you capture sales and all that piece. So this is down here in the bottom of this slide is the link to the week 8 presentation, where I have all the demographics and some good business examples of companies using these different platforms. That can help you with your piece. Minimize this screen. I don't know why it keeps advancing on its own. It's really annoying. There we go. I'm going to minimize this just so you can see better. Awesome. Move this way down here so I can see better. So these are all the different digital marketing categories. This is from a digital media conference I went to pre-pandemic. And this is Professor Scott Cowley, who's at Western Michigan, and he's a known expert in digital advertising and marketing. So I grabbed this information, but you see all these different components to digital marketing, and all these are separate careers. It used to be you're a marketing guy and you'd work for an ad agency and you would do all these pieces. Now it's all fragmented. You can hire somebody just to do e-commerce piece. You can hire somebody on Indeed.com to just do email campaigns. You might hire somebody separately to do web development using WordPress. But you see all these different pieces: SEO, search engine marketing, social media and content writers, CRM, that's customer relationship management and marketing automation. So there's Salesforce. So on the edges here are some vendors in each of these spaces, right? And then you have the whole analytics piece of analyzing the effectiveness of your campaigns and your website through tools like Google Analytics. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's all relatively new. So it's an exciting time for you guys. This slide, I know I've shared this with you before, but I just want to ring the bell again on this one, that these links down here on the 4th bullet point, there's all these free certification programs. So if you know you want to be a digital entrepreneur, you want to be in this space, you can start educating yourself now and adding to your resume certifications that will add value to you. If somebody's looking to hire you and you've got your Google certifications and you've been through Facebook Blueprint and have those certifications and the other one doesn't, that's really going to help you out. These are all free. They're all free because these platforms, they want to train you how to use your stuff so that the company you work for will be using their stuff and you'll be pushing advertising dollars their way, right? So all these are here. The first 3 bullet points are like industry stuff that you can follow with updates, from eMarketer and what's going on. And these are all good ones. So to step back a little bit and look at digital advertising, we have our devices, and then we have all the different channels that we're using on those devices, right? So when we say, digital advertising, that's all of these devices, your cell phone, your computer, your smart TV, video game consoles, all these things we can advertise on digitally. So all these different devices. And then there's all these different channels that we can use. We have websites and search engines and social media sites, and we can do text messaging and display advertising. online directories, video channels, etc. So there's a lot. There's a lot to go after. And some of the main channel categories, all these terms kind of get bounced around here, but search engine marketing, that can be SEO is under that, and also paid search. So these blue pieces here are links to definitions on these terms. These are not on your quiz. This is just for your own edification. But search engine marketing, right, is like going on the Google Ad Network and you're looking for a mountain bike and those ads are chasing you around as you go to different websites. Search engine optimization, that is your website and maximizing it through these SEO strategies so that when somebody's searching and typing in mountain bikes on Google, that your mountain bike shop comes up on that first page, on that page rank. So there's a lot of things that go into SEO. We're talking about your website design, the keywords that you use, the links you have to other sites, the actual structure of your pages. So Google and its ever-changing algorithms, and Facebook as well with their algorithms, that drives the search engine results, or what we call search engine result pages, SERPs. So that's tweaking your website, and that is organic search, because when you land on that first page and you're not a paid advertiser up top, that's an organic search and that's free. But you can also just throw money at it as a marketer and do paid search, right? So a paid search, so you come up on that first page using Google AdWords, YouTube, Creator Academy, all these different things. So, and what companies have found is that being on different social media platforms also helps their search engine optimization. So for example, if you have a Facebook business page and you're doing maybe a Facebook Live events on your Facebook page, when somebody searches in your business category, because of that heavy activity on your social media sites, it's going to help you score higher on a search for your business. So that's part of the reason, not just connecting with customers and trying to be engaged with customers, keeping your brand live and getting customer feedback on your products and services, but also social media platforms help with your search results as well. So that's SEM, search engine marketing, and then SEO, and there's paid search. And then we're looking at all these different social media networks. And you can put some of those in the chat right now. There's a couple listed up here. So, and that can be non-paid activity, meaning you're getting earned media, people through organic engagement, reposting your stuff, liking, sharing, etc. That is non-paid activity. We like that, right, as a business, because we're extending our reach and our impressions. Or it can be paid through display ads, promoted posts, sponsored stories, et cetera, et cetera. So that's looking at our big wheel of digital marketing. That's over here. So these two pieces, SEO, that's your website. And now we're talking about your social media platform. One example, Facebook Blueprint, that link there, all these links are live. That'll take you to Facebook Blueprint, which is their certification platform for all things Facebook. I know for many of you being younger, Facebook is kind of a yawn, like, I don't use it personally. But they have the most well-built machine for sure. And you know, one of the advantages is if you're on Facebook as a business and you have a business page, and here's just a sample. I mocked something up on Facebook years ago, and it's pathetic because it's not a real business. I just put it out there. So it's got some followers. It's not even real. But when you have a Facebook business page, obviously you can create Facebook events. You see that down here. You can do Facebook Live. The engagement rates on Facebook Live. Anybody want to throw that in the chat? I would like to see what you guys think about that. Facebook Live. Facebook Live. What do you think the engagement rates are on Facebook Live versus just static posts? How many times higher do you think Facebook Live posts? That's Facebook Live, where you can obviously broadcast live to all your Facebook followers with live content. Miguel's thinking less effective. Andrew says it's 10% higher.
I meant 10% lower. I mean, like literally like 10% of your liked post. So like say if your liked post gets 10,000 likes, then 10% of that is what you would get in your live audience.
Yeah. JR says engagement is a lot better for private profiles. So yes, I used to work with a digital entrepreneur, and she was getting 10x on her Facebook Live events. But every now and then things go sideways, just like it's like a live Zoom right to your followers. And Facebook is notorious for being hard to get a hold of if you're having issues. So, but you have much higher engagement through those events. You obviously have Facebook offerings. So there's a lot of tools available here. So when we're talking about engagement rates is when you're posting information, how many people are actually responding, liking, sharing, etc. And most of you some of you are already in this space, and I'm sure you know this, but the social media platforms, they're moving more towards where they want you to pay. They want you to pay, they want you to promote your posts. Sorry, my slides keep advancing on their own. Not really sure why it's doing that. Let me make sure of that. So the organic results, it's getting harder to get those. But social media is an awesome tool. One, engagement, it's a powerful tool. Facebook has a really well-built machine. Instagram, super popular, younger audience. And even, like Snapchat's got those geo filters, and Taco Bell had some good success with using those geo fences to create campaigns. And then you have the traditional stuff like email marketing. So there's a couple of platforms that use that, and we all love when we get spam email, right? So, and there's some rules here from this Spam Act was actually all the way back in 2003, that the subject line has to be relevant, has to be identified as an ad. You must be able to opt in and opt out as a recipient. Same for text messages, and must have the company's physical address. In the chat, how many of you, why or no, are you still getting emails where you can't opt out? I'm just curious. Yes, if you're getting emails that you can't opt out, and no if you're not. Miguel says, yep. All day, every day. Yeah, so bad actors in that space. Hard to police though, right? And then we have SMS, text messaging, and there's also in-app advertising. If you're using an app and getting advertising built in there. So these tend to be more sales promotion oriented, buy now, time sensitive. I listed this here. We have the computer science department, which is different than the computer science information technology department. They do have a mobile app development class taught by Michael Paulding. So I've heard good things about that class. So you may want to check that one out. So there's all these things. And then there's also that analytics piece. In step 5 of your marketing plan, if we look forward several weeks, that's your last step of the marketing plan. And that's where you're listing your budget and your metrics. Talked about it in our special event thing last week, which was the importance of always having a metric for every marketing activity, every marketing expense that you do. As a marketer, you have to defend yourself and how you're spending the company's money by always being able to point to a goal number, a metric that you want to hit for whatever you're doing. I want this much engagement. I want these many followers. I want this many client leads. I want this many sales. I want this much PR coverage. But getting into the habit of always including some type of metric for your activities will keep you employed as a marketer. So there's all these different terms here, and you can look these up on your own. And I've listed down here some live links to some of the analytic platforms for these different social media platforms. They all have analytical pieces as well. And these are robust, and you can become an expert just in these.
Can I ask
so go ahead.
I find it confusing how to read the analytics. I think you and I've talked about this. I don't know why. Is there, you know what I mean? Like there's all these different charts and these different numbers, but I don't know how they're relevant or what they actually mean. So I really struggled with that piece, just sharing.
Yeah, I appreciate you being honest about that, Karen. I would say you're not alone. you know, so we're looking for some type of return on ad spend. I'll share some more stuff in a couple weeks as we get closer to the metrics piece. But that's something they cover more in the CSIT 155 course on the metrics. So there's lots of ways to analyze the effectiveness of your campaign. So click-through rates, engagement rates, there's a lot of things you can look at. There's a whole host of metrics that you can look at. You know, even something like bounce rate, which people may click on your digital ad and they go to your website and they promptly leave. So bounce rate, meaning,
Yeah, that's a big one.
yeah, so they liked your ad, but when they went to the website, they did not like your website. So, you know, bounce rate. So that tells you from a metric standpoint, okay, there's something wrong with my website. It's too difficult to navigate. You know, it's not conversion-centered design. So we'll get into some of that in a subsequent class where I'll talk about return on ad spend and kind of flow some stuff down. But it can get super geeky and super analytical as much as you want. And we just, with this broad brush of this class, we don't hit all of it. There's just too much there. I agree with you, absolutely. So I liked this table and I wanted to share it with you. And I will also push it out in PDF form for those of you that are already working in this space and are looking for some more guidance and structure about how to put together a social strategy, a social plan. But if you look up top, you've got the different stages that a customer goes through. And they're starting with, you're just trying to get them to be aware that you're a choice when they're considering their evoked sets of who might I buy from to solve my consumer problem from. So in your objectives, the second row here, change depending upon what stage they're at. So in this case, they're getting ready to make a decision. They're on Pinterest and they want to buy a closet conversion kit. They're on Pinterest to look at some examples and they are going to buy right now. So they're at the decision stage. And adopt is they have bought and you're trying to keep them happy. And then advocacy, you're trying to actually make them like an ambassador and they're going to speak on your behalf to other customers. So different social tactics for each of these stages. And I like this table because I'm not going to go through it in complete detail because you can read it on your own. But owned media that's your own stuff. That's your website. That's your content. Stuff that you own. Maybe you're on LinkedIn and you do white papers once a week as a subject matter expert. That's owned media. Earned media is people are engaging with your brand. They're pushing things out. You're getting engagement rates, even maybe some PR coverage. And then you have paid. That's your advertising piece, right? So you can see that the paid tactics change depending upon which stage you're at. But take some time on this if you're interested in working in this space and kind of like just digest it, because it really helps you out. And once you have this kind of understood, then that helps you start formulating an actual content calendar and plan. And then this bullet point over here, this 1, 2, 3, 4, this fifth row is KPIs, key performance indicators. What we were just talking about earlier, you could also call these metrics. Right? So what are we going after? What are our performance indicators that our efforts are working? These are our KPIs, also known as metrics. You can see those change depending upon which stage you're at. Then this last row is about internally within your company, communicating with different parts of your company. There's other stakeholders in the company that would be involved in creating content or helping with strategy as you move through each of these stages. Like decision stage, when people are getting ready to buy, if you have a sales force and a sales team, you would want them involved in planning strategy around that stage. So I like this table. There's a lot to it. It's thick. And this is from sproutsocial.com, which is a site that you can look at for lots of good stuff, free stuff. And this is from Dr. Rachel Hastings. She teaches in the communication department at MiraCosta. She is a digital communication whiz. She's all over it. She does a lot of social causes on social media. She's got her own business called doced.org. But this is a nice job of kind of, you're getting ready to communicate digitally. You want to think about the storytelling process and all the pieces that you have to put together. Like, I'm going to need some images, script. So there's a lot to it. I think the brands that are doing well have invested in content managers and content directors that put all this together so they have a cohesive message as a brand. And then we see other companies that do a crappy job and they've just got some young intern or something that's just churning out content. There's no real clear plan. There's no real brand identity. You can actually like harm your brand by just kind of being out there with a clear strategy, right? So this is what I'm going to have you guys work on in your groups with the time that we have. And I apologize. I know the group stuff can be a little bit bumpy. We're kind of doing the best we can with the technology that we have. So I appreciate you guys being flexible on this. So this is also from Dr. Rachel Hastings, and she uses this as a monthly planning calendar. So the reason I polled you at the beginning was to come up with 3 social media platforms that you want to use for your marketing plan, product, or service idea, is because you're going to actually lay that out on this calendar. So when I put you into your Zoom breakout groups, you can do a top line round robin, like 1 minute each on each of your marketing plan, product, or services ideas. And whichever person in your group seems to have the most energy and the most knowledge around how they would use social media to promote their marketing plan, product, or service, you will then kind of take that person as the lead in your group, and you'll all work together on roughing up a content calendar for that person. So only one person in your group is going to kind of be the guinea pig. We can't do everybody. It's just too complex in a Zoom breakout. But what you'll want to do is when you've identified, wow, Karen's got a great product idea that can definitely work on digital media. She's already got some platforms identified. Select those 3 platforms. And you want to identify some themes. You want to identify some themes for each platform. We can get further, we can go into metrics, but for this brief time that we have, we're going to focus on some themes. And then you want 3 posts for each platform. So maybe one of your platforms is Instagram. You need to come up with 3 posts for Instagram. You'll put them on this calendar. We're going to do a 3-week calendar. This one shows 4, you can do 3 weeks. So you need to have at least 3 posts, 1 in week 1, 1 in week 2, 1 in week 3 for Instagram. And then maybe your second platform is YouTube. And you're going to have, you know what, our theme is going to be tutorials. And we're going to have a tutorial video, 1 in week 1, 1 in week 2, 1 in week 3. Then your third platform, maybe it's Twitter. And you're going to have product news, because you know Instagram is news oriented. You're going to have three tweets on your calendar as well. 1 in week 1, 1 in week 2, and 1 in week 3. So think about the themes, like what theme would work well for YouTube? Tutorials, self-help stuff is big on YouTube. Like how to meditate, that stuff's big on YouTube also. Even like how to apply cosmetics tutorials, those are big on YouTube. So consider the platform and then consider like a content theme that would work on that platform, tutorials for YouTube. And then come up with 3 specific posts for each platform. And ideally, if time permitted, and it doesn't in this class, but we're going to try anyways, you would schedule it all out. And the bottom of the screen is hiding from me. But it's saying number of posts, and I've already told you it's going to be 1 post a week for 3 weeks, and 3 different platforms. So that's the what you're doing. Let me just show you, like, here's a content calendar, and that link up top will take you to this person's page, and they've got more stuff. And of course, she's trying to sell you content planning services. But I like the format here because it lays out, you know, Facebook on Monday, I'm going to use this. Twitter on Monday, I'm going to do this. Instagram on Monday, I'm going to do this. And second one's here. So it looks like she's posting twice a week on these platforms. You're going to have 3 weeks, 1 post each week for each platform, and try to come up with some themes. So what I've got here in the upper left is a link to this calendar in a Google Doc format. It's cleaned it up best I could. It's not exact, but I'm going to open that up right now so you can see the group doc, and then I'm going to put this in your, whoa, that's different. Let me just go to this one. There it is. So here's a monthly calendar. Let's assume you're going to do it for December, and you've got 3 weeks, week 1, week 2, week 3. And yes, you can type in these little boxes. But what I want you to focus on in your group in this little bit of time that we have is try to at least tackle this piece down here. So for platform 1, actually you're going to post in all 3, because I meant to say which day of week. Let me fix that real quick. Sorry for the printer noise in the background.
Quick question, and I'm so sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
As I always do. Themes. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, and I probably should know. Like themes, as in, I got tutorials. So like maybe with contests or blogs, or like what are?
Yep. Contests. It's also like it's election day. So if you're to, let's assume that you're going to write this content calendar in December. So what's happening in December? It's obviously a huge gift giving month. So, all right, so my theme for YouTube is, I'm going to do decoration tutorials. And your product is going to be inserted in there as part of those tutorials, right? And then for Twitter, you're going to have maybe some holiday planning news, how to have productive family conversations during the holiday news, right? So look for some family gathering news that you could use on Twitter. And then if you're doing Instagram, you could have obviously lots of visual content, maybe around centerpiece displays or even cooking. So you want to think about, that's a good question, Karen. So you want to think about the platform. What is the platform good at? And then what would be a theme that we can at least come up with 3 different content pieces that best fit the use of that platform and also support our product or service that we're trying to sell. Does that help?
Yeah. Okay. So it's like weekly theme, like 1 week you're going to do something, and then the following week you're going to do something different, but that theme has 3 different platforms to convey that on.
Correct. Yeah.
Thanks.
So there's the use of the platform, like YouTube, I'm going to do tutorials, or YouTube, I'm going to do a challenge. Like, remember that ice bucket challenge that was all over YouTube years back? The fundraiser. I'm going to do a challenge, right? And then you can have, so I would encourage you to find an activity, I'm calling that a theme, that works on that platform, and then come up with 3 content pieces that fit that activity. So if it was YouTube and you're doing tutorials, you want to come up with 3 different tutorial topics that support the theme and the use of that platform and also promote your product or service.
Okay. Yeah. Easy.
Not easy at all. And then this is, so this is entering the world of being, a content writer and a content manager. I know we've got some folks that are a little more savvy in this space and do it a lot, but it's a lot of work, and you write good stuff for December, and then guess what? Now it's January. We need more good stuff.
Right.
So it is hard for companies to keep the content beast fed.
Yeah.
Good question. Other questions, you can put them in the chat. I'm looking at the chat right now. Any other questions on chat or otherwise before I stick into groups? 2:10, we've got, we're actually right on schedule. We got 35 minutes on the button. I'm gonna give you guys 25 minutes in your groups and 10 minutes for a little share out. For the groups, have somebody type and just focus on this second page here. And I'm gonna share the link to this working doc right now. So it's a live doc. I suggest you copy it, copy the sheet, and open it as a new tab, that new copy tab, link to calendar worksheet for groups. Have somebody be the typist in your group. Focus on page 2 So whoever's got the idea, you're not going to be the presenter. It's going to be other folks in your group who are going to say, our first platform is YouTube, and we're going to be posting on these days of the week. Our theme is, and our specific content topics are, et cetera, et cetera. Make sense? Doesn't have to be completely make sense. I'm going to check in on each group and make sure that you've got somebody's product or service that you can use as a guinea pig person within the group. So quickly share what you are doing as far as your marketing plan idea, how you might use it from a social media perspective, and then amongst you, pick a winner as the one you want to run with. Okay. So I just put the link to the document in the chat. I put it in there again. Click on that, please. Open it up in a new tab, make a copy of it. And I'm going to stick you guys, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to pause recording.